Hey everybody, we'll be getting started in a few moments. I'm going to be inviting Chuck Bardo will be coming here soon. All right. So let's see. We got John Mert in the chat. Once we get Chuck Bardo in here, we're going to get him on the screen so we can go ahead and discuss a couple different things regarding sponsorships and different etiquette around it. Let's see. Oh, there he is. All right. Just sent a video. Let's see if he's happening. There he is. Hey, there he is.
There we go. That'll work.
Oh, man. So we got Chuck Bardo here, who is a big-time ambassador of the sport of arm wrestling. And for those of you who don't know him on my page, he is actually one of the very first people that I had the pleasure of meeting with in the arm wrestling community back in 2020 in Pittston, PA. I believe that was the first time that you and I actually met for a brief moment. And
yeah, I believe so.
And it's been a hell of a ride since, man. We've gone through quite the roller coaster of experience, huh?
Oh yeah.
So we are here to discuss a bunch of different things, but most specifically sponsorships and proper etiquette with that as well.
Right.
There has been a lot of discussion and a lot of confusion as to how to possibly gain sponsorships and what's the right way to start and go about it. And my first and foremost thing is there's no free lunches, right? You can't just ask for money. That's just something that nobody really would like to subscribe to. And it looks bad, to be honest, in my opinion. Just asking for money for the sake of asking, I don't think so. I like to offer something. So what I first start with comes to looking and gaining sponsorship. If I have an event that I want to go to, or I need some equipment per se, and I don't have the funds to do so because I have a family to feed and I got bills to pay, a roof to keep over my head, and this is a hobby sport and I'm not making money in it, right? So I am going to seek out how I can creatively get the funds for it without really hurting or putting any detriment on anyone else. So how do I do that? I build relationships. I try to make friends. I get to know people and what they have to possibly offer. And then I find out what their offerings are and how do they fit the needs that I have, to overcome whatever obstacles in my way financially or training wise. Let's say I need to get to the next level of training and I need a specific tool. I'm going to reach out to sponsors to get me that tool because I want to get to the next level.
Yeah. I really think you really got to put in the hard work, the footwork, get out there. And if you're seeking sponsors, actually physically go out and seek them. Don't do it through a message or an email or stuff like that. Go down there, discuss, make sure, you both have an understanding of what you're offering each other. I think just that face-to-face conversation goes a long way.
Well, I mean, it helps generate a trust, and people who, interact with other people that they trust, they're more inclined to give something when asked, first and
Right.
foremost. So it's the building a relationship 101, sales 101. If you walk into a store, let's bring it to a sales aspect. You walk into a store, you have a need. Something brought you into that store to purchase something. Now, if you're met with somebody that's going to be welcoming and treating you like a friend, you're more likely to purchase something that day or at that visit than if somebody who's greeting you with a grumpy, nasty attitude that doesn't, that, you know, you're doing them a favor by being there. You know, you're not going to get anywhere with that. So, you
Right.
know, definitely has to do with just having the right attitude, the work ethic, and going there knowing, hey, I might get a no as well. I might get, you know, a door slammed in my face as well. So there's the other side of that. You know, putting in the work means accepting rejection. You know, in typical sales, from my personal experience, out of every 10 people I would say I would reach out to, only 3 of them would say yes to me. So
Yeah, yeah. You really got to be ready to take the no's along with the yeses. And Joel Island Craig in the chat there said it's an awesome topic. What's the best sales pitch you can do to a sponsor? You just gotta be ready to have something that you're gonna offer them. Like whether it be like you get them just a simple thing like better, like a good positive Google review on their business, you know, just so you have something to offer. Whether it's even something simple as a name on a t-shirt, just simple stuff like that.
I was going to suggest that, you know, having a shirt with their name on it is worth a lot of money, because that means that brand is getting constant exposure every time you wear it, to the gym, to the grocery store. So that somebody somewhere is going to see that symbol and be like, what is that? What's that about? And they're going to look it up eventually, somebody. And it may not be a large number, but at least one more person is aware of that company's existence because you wore the shirt.
Right.
Or you put a post on your Facebook feed and a tag, you know, something like that. Just being willing to share some type of marketing that they're offering their name to you and saying, hey, I'll share your name. I'll advertise for you. If you're going to pay for me, you're paying for an advertisement at that point. I'll become a
right. Yeah, but you just got to be ready to just get out there, you know, go see the people. But first and foremost, before you even start this whole thing, have a plan. Make sure you have a plan. You have everything written out on you know, what you're gonna offer, what you're looking for, just stuff like that.
And it doesn't have to be a complex offering either. You know, one of my favorite things. So I created a YouTube channel for other reasons, to actually get myself out there as an arm wrestler. But I now can utilize that to help myself gain sponsorships, because now I don't have a large following, but at the very least, there are going to be 200 people who watch my videos who a company may never have had access to and advertise. And even if 1 to 5 people generate interest to that company, it was well worth that investment to them, because those 5 people may generate more. And that's how marketing works. They view it as marketing dollars. Now, there are some companies out there that actually have a funding. They actually have funding set aside for situations like this, for sponsorships. It's a tax write-off for them or whatever it may be. So unless you actually go and knock on the door and introduce yourself, get to know them, show them what you may have to offer, whatever it is, be willing to put yourself out there, because it's not comfortable. I'm not going to lie. I'm not comfortable in front of the camera. As much as it may seem like I am not. I have a couple of years of practice doing so I can kind of fake the illusion, if you may. But it's something that you have to be uncomfortable to get to the comfort level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think like a big thing you need to try to work on too is even after they've sponsored you for what you needed, what you wanted the sponsorship for, the continuation of doing that to maintain that relationship. And so that way, if need be, you can go discuss another sponsorship, just things like that. But I just think the biggest thing is just be open with what you're doing, and what you have to offer for your sponsors.
Transparency is key, without a doubt. Transparency, and you know, because that comes with a relationship too, right? That comes with the trust. That comes with getting to know you as an individual. The people who sponsor me, they did not just see a piece of paper to gain sponsorship. some of these people, I was actually a customer of that company for a year, 2 years, you know, and I was an actual believer of their product before I even sought out the sponsorship. And I developed a relationship. These are people who, hey, Dan, you're back. Welcome back. You know, it was kind of like cheers. You know, everyone knows your name. And it becomes a more of a communal experience, because that's the thing. We want to build up a community. Not only do we want just funding and someone to write us a check and walk away from us. No, I wanted that person who invested into me to continue to invest, not just financially, but hey, I want to watch this guy grow and progress, and give them something to get excited about beyond just advertising for them. You want to give them something to get, anticipation about, and build up a lot more enthusiasm, because that's how we grow the sport. That's how we grow any community.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say there too. Like once you build a relationship as an individual and they start understanding the sport, they are going to be more willing to go beyond just sponsoring one person. They're a person you can open up an avenue to for an event, you know, to speak to them about sponsoring an event and stuff like that. And just that'll just help grow just things all around. You know, it doesn't just stop at just ourselves. You know, like you're kind of in the beginning, you're kind of, when you're trying to look for that sponsor for you, you kind of are being like kind of one-sided, but you almost, in the back of your mind, you're also thinking, hey, to grow the sport, I need to let these people know, hey, you know, if you want to go to a bigger sponsorship, there's always events, stuff like that. Just,
Well,
you know,
add to it. Like,
yep.
Every sponsor that ever is invested into me, I always funnel them through to all the different organizations that I affiliate with. 98%, Empire Arms, James Reed. If it makes sense to them, I always say, hey, this guy is really interested in arm wrestling because they're investing into me. I'm sure you can take them much further than I could ever hope to at this point in time. Why don't you go ahead and seek them out and see if we can, work together? That to me is money in the bank by way of growing the sport. Like, that's pouring all the seeds that we need to actually nourish this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't even have to be, like you were talking earlier, it doesn't even have to be a monetary donation as a sponsor for yourself. It could, like you said, it could be a piece of equipment, you know, anything like that.
Yeah.
If it's a gym close to you, like just a membership for a year, or just something simple like that, it's not always going to be a monetary sponsorship.
Yeah, it doesn't always. It can be. Those are considered what's called in-kind sponsorships as well, because they're sponsoring something that is of value to the company and to you as well. So both benefit from the sponsorship. And if, for instance, Fred Goki from ISO, he gave me one of the units. I didn't ask for that sponsorship, to be honest with you, and he offered it to me. And in doing so, I reached out to him. I said, because of this generous offering, I am actively seeking sponsorships. I would love to highlight you. And
right,
that was an amazing experience for me, because I didn't know, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't asking for it, and it just came. And so that's what, if you put yourself out there, these type of scenarios can happen. These type of things can actually happen, but it's like lotto. You won't win unless you actually play, right?
Right. Yeah. But I just think the biggest, most important thing is just making sure you go out there and go after it. You have to do the footwork. You have to be out there. You can't just say, hey, give me some free money.
No.
I have nothing to offer you. Just give me some free money. You can't. That doesn't work.
No, like those type of situations are better for emergency. Like, let's say they have a house fire, a tree falls in your house, death in the family, whatever, loss of income, something like that. That's where that belongs. But for raising money for a sport, for an athlete, for a team, for an organization, event, you gotta have an ebb and flow. You gotta have some type of collateral that's going to be mutually beneficial. Yes, initially it's going to help you get out of the floodgates much faster, but it's going to help that sponsor down the road invest in other things, because maybe that sponsor maybe never have experienced being a sponsor, and if you give them an outstanding experience, maybe they're going to start saying, hey, maybe I should look into other sponsorships and other things that I should be investing into. And it just trickles down greatly to the entire community.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people in this sport that have companies and stuff like that, and understand the sport and understand sponsorship and stuff like that. Even if you just start with them people, there's a lot of people. A lot of them are always willing to help out. Like you said, whether it be money or a product, but just don't ever stop there. Like after that is over, just the continuation of supporting your sponsors is also part of it.
Absolutely. I'm continuously, even though I told them that they were going to get a shirt and I was going to be sponsoring, highlighting them at, a future event that I'm going to be hosting, I still highlight them left and right. And not because they're expecting it or wanting it, or because I'm looking to gain anything further beyond. They helped me out and I became friends with these people. I've developed my own personal relationship. And so now I just want to keep maintaining that. For the relationship side, everything else is an added bonus in my book. But the real win is I got a new friend.
Right.
And that's what the coolest thing about it is. And the work isn't done, right? I'm going to continuously seek sponsorships. I'm continuously arm wrestling, so I'm going to still need financing and support and help, but I'm going to continuously offer my services to help whatever way I can to reciprocate.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest key, because I know now we'll talk about your sponsorships a little bit. You had different levels to what they offered, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I think down the road that's a great idea. So you can actually put it right in front of them and say, hey, like this amount will get you this amount get you this amount get you this, and all the way down. That to me, that's a really great way just to put in front of people what to expect in return for what they're giving.
Absolutely. The amounts are inconsequential, whatever amount you want to make them. That's the things, but just to give you guys a benchmark, 50, 100, 200, whatever numbers you want to look at, but start off with something basic. $50. I'm going to leave a review on your Google page. How hard is that? It takes 2 seconds. I'm going to highlight you on my personal social media. We all pretty much essentially at this point at the time have social media. Some select few don't, but that's okay. You have a friend that you could probably highlight on social media then. We all have a friend who has an account somewhere, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, doesn't matter. Then the higher levels get a little bit more. To get a YouTube interview, if you have a YouTube channel. If you don't have one, create one. It's not actually as complex as one would think. They made it very easy now that you can do it on your phone, I think, now, without any subscribers. So There's no excuses. You don't need a computer anymore. Then beyond that, if you're having events, you highlight them at an event. You get a banner for them. So, you want to make sure it makes sense to the value that you're asking for as well. If you're looking for sponsorship for a big event, you got to be careful with how and what you're offering to make sure it makes sense. Because I'm not going to offer a shirt to somebody who's going to be giving me $500.
Yeah, right.
That's a little underhanded in my opinion. But that's something more than that.
Yeah, because if you just start off your lowest level and you offer this, your next level you offer the same thing but one thing more, two things more, and it be something as simple as, like you said, like the T-shirt, doing a little bit of social media and highlighting your sponsors. There's guys out there as simple as if you go on a social media platform and you're using something else like Zoom or something, there are people will make backgrounds for you and will put your sponsors on there. So every time you go on a podcast or you talk on your YouTube through Zoom or anything like that, you just use that. Just continue to put it out there.
Absolutely.
And them guys, they'll come back. Like when some of them will probably say to you, hey, when you do an event again, we'd gladly sponsor you, give you a little, you maintain that friendship.
Well, you know what? There's another way you can also get sponsorships, which actually I would love to share. You guys did it with, I think it was the Riverside Grill, was it? Or one of the events that you guys had. You had a big event there. You guys knocked it out of the park, better than they anticipated. And then the next event, they became a sponsor.
Right. Well, we did the one little practice. It wasn't a little practice. It was pretty big at this little local bar close to me. And this guy said, because we brought in so much revenue that night, he sponsored us with a $500 sponsor. Now, what we did was we went ahead and put his logo on our banner, which we use behind like all of our tournaments and stuff like that. And then if we go somewhere else for a practice, the banner goes along, and then those people, as soon as they see that they can make some money or they can benefit from it, they're asking you, hey, when are you going to come back? When are you going to come back? When are you going to come back? And there again, when you go back, they make the money, they're going to share that with you. They're going to say, hey, here's some more for a sponsorship. We really appreciate you putting our name out there, stuff like that. And they may never know. They may never know if they got any business off that sponsorship, but they know at least they made enough that night to cover that sponsorship.
Which is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful, and they'll want to do that again. And other people will see that and want to try to replicate that. Say, hey, can I get a piece of that?
And I believe that the bar we had that little thing at, I think they got 30 good Google reviews. We went on and posted Google reviews for them. So, like, people don't think, oh, Google reviews, what are they? I personally, when I go to a hotel, what's the first thing I look at? The reviews.
Yeah.
Because I'm not staying at a place that has 1.2 stars. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, that's like, anytime you're going somewhere new, a lot of people will look at Google reviews.
Yeah.
And that takes seconds.
It takes a couple of seconds to do.
Literally.
If you ever want to be lazy about it, I'll give you a shortcut. Take your notepad in your phone, make a generic, overwhelmingly positive review, copy and paste the name of the place, and boom, there's your quick.
Yeah, it's that simple.
It's that simple. So once again, no more excuses, guys.
and there's always places around. Like, T-shirts are not that hard to get made. They're really not that hard.
Nope. CustomInc.com is where I got this one from. Good material. They were quick. It was $35 for a custom job. I know there's other options out there, but if there's something, like if you don't have access to options online, Custom Ink has an app. I did it all on my phone. I designed this on my phone. I didn't have a computer available at the time, and I was able to design it on my phone. So that's cool. But I'm sure there's other companies that we can link in and share that do shirt companies. Hey, even there's shirt companies that would sponsor.
Yeah, I mean, like when Brandon L. Sessler went down to Monster Factory, me and my wife made his shirts for that event. His were pretty simple. It was just a logo on the front, a couple logos on the back. His name on it. We gladly do stuff like that. It's not that hard. And all I ask is I can put my logo on that shirt. That's all I ask. And if you get somebody that can do that for you, T-shirts are cheap. Yeah. They are cheap to make.
That's true.
Not that I'm going to start making cheap T-shirts, but
they're not, but
I'll make
them. In the scheme of things, when we want to look at investment, this stuff really costs, and how much we have to really invest. That's like the smallest chunk of it. The smallest, the cost of a shirt. I mean, these shirts are freaking epic from Winter Blast. I still wear it regularly, and it's got listed all the sponsors that were a participant of, making Winter Blast happen. And it's an awesome shirt, very comfortable. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and the sponsors that were on that shirt, like if you go somewhere and somebody knows that place, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's cool." You're still wearing that shirt. That you're not gonna throw that shirt away when the event's
No,
over. Like I wear Lucas Raymond shirts all the time. The guy, like I've never asked for anything for free, but he always cuts me a good deal on stuff, and things like that. Or like I live 2 hours away from him. I can drive up there and get stuff, and he'll have it ready. He'll let me know. He'll let me know when it's ready. I can drive up and get it, stuff like that, But he's the kind of guy, because he's involved in arm wrestling, I'll always wear his stuff, like always.
understandable, completely understandable. And I try to promote as much. I go to the grocery store wearing my arm wrestling gear. I go to the mall. I walk around everywhere. I went to Sky Zone. I don't know if you have one of those over by you. It's a trampoline park. And I was wearing a WAL shirt, actually, and the one from Keystones. And somebody goes, you were in WAL? I was like, no, I wasn't in WAL, but I competed at an event that they were, highlighting the company. And it started a conversation with somebody. He goes, oh, wait, they have events local that anybody can go to? And he had no idea. And I gave him all the links that he needed to find arm wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, like, people don't realize the little things it does for the sport. I mean, we're kind of getting off topic of the sponsorship, but it's still part of it here that, like, when you go to the gym or something like that and you're wearing an arm wrestling shirt, it's the same thing. You're going to get people involved. And whether it be one of those people gets involved and they decide, hey, this is something I'm interested in supporting, you may gain a sponsor, and really all you did was wear a shirt that said arm wrestling on it. It was that simple, Sometimes these things just happen to fall right into place, but remember, it's not very often.
Not for nothing, though. When we do get the sponsorships, though, if you think about it, marketing and advertising, you look at commercials, right? They spend an obscene amount of money to get featured into a movie, right? They have spent an obscene amount of money just so they can get a little more exposure.
Right.
So having a sponsor actually does directly impact and affect how much exposure we can gain for arm wrestling. So the more sponsorships we get, the more people we have trying to seek out sponsorships. I'm sorry, there's no well that's going to run dry. There's enough companies out there with enough money that are looking to sponsor us, but there's not enough people willing to go out there and knock on their doors and get to become friendly with them. So
right.
We need more people. So this is my call to arms, if you may. Get out there, get off your butt, and get a sponsorship to help you get to the next arm wrestling goal that you didn't allow for yourself to do. Just do it.
Just get out there and do the footwork and pound the pavement, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there and ask. Just ask them.
The more you do that, the more eyes that will end up on arm wrestling, period. That I promise you. More people do that. And that's what guerrilla marketing is. It's literally, boots on the pavement, knocking on doors, shaking hands, kissing babies, meeting and greeting a bunch of different people, getting doors slammed in your face. Trust me, I've had a few of them trying to get some of these sponsors, but it's worth it. It's worth it. Because those 3 yeses out of the 7 no's that you get, you forget all about the no's. Because you made your goal. If you make your goal, you hit it, you're marking, you're like, hey, I'm here. I made it. When I got to Olympia, I got to tell you how the feeling was beyond ecstasy. That's the only thing I can say. It was amazing because I couldn't have financially afforded that myself. I couldn't have. There was no way. And I was just feeling so much gratitude once I landed, like, for the sponsorships that I gained, because they made it possible. Each and every person made that possible, and it got me able to communicate with the guy who's in charge of marketing and gaining sponsorships for bare knuckle boxing.
Oh, yeah.
They're out of Philly, and I was sitting right next to him. So had I not got sponsored, I wouldn't have gotten connected with that man.
Right.
Who
and the
is sponsoring an arm wrestling event at some point in time.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like you'll get 7 no's and you'll get 3 yeses, and then down the road, those 7 no's may see what's going on with the 3 yeses.
That's
and
true.
and they may contact you and say, hey, I know I said no the first time, but now I'm kind of interested in this. But what let's sit down and talk. So them don't be afraid to always look back at them no's and say, hey, try it again. Doesn't hurt.
Rejection is part of the process. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep. Yeah.
Because as long as you handle it, gracefully, that person who rejected you will remember that. They will. They're if they're a reputable company, somebody who is investing into other things, they're going to remember the grace that you approach the situation with. And they're going to remember that and want to invest it once they're capable or interested in doing so.
Yeah.
So maintain that relationship, because that impression is crucial. It's crucial.
Yeah. And listen, for the most part, you're not on your own. There's plenty of people out there that in this sport that you can talk to about sponsorships and how it worked for them, and there's a ton of information out there.
So much. I mean, a buddy of mine, Paul Cruz, local guy, he too is getting sponsorships. He's going about it a little bit differently, and there's nothing wrong with it. He has a friend that's actually hosting a fundraising event. That he has a bar. And he decided, he took it upon himself to offer this, to say, hey, we, don't ask for anybody for money. We're going to raise the funds this way. And that's a great way to do it. Develop a community, and it really does actually help generate a little bit more of an eye on the sport of arm wrestling on the local community in your own backyard.
Right.
So that,
yes,
as it becomes more closer to a bigger event, people start to say, hey, whoa, there's a lot of these families getting involved, because that's the biggest thing, is the families. If you can cater to the family of the arm wrestler as well, you're hitting both angles on a level that we haven't seen previously, right?
Right.
With that in mind, I want you guys and everyone else watching this to know, don't seek out sponsorships just solely based on your personal needs as well and what they can benefit you. Think out the box a little bit. Look at it as such as, hey, maybe my wife would like to hear about this product and they would like to get more exposure, or my family member, my father, mother, my child even. So look for a sponsorship that can cater to that demographic as well, because the group of people that we want to cater to is everybody, not just arm wrestlers.
Right.
Sponsorships, because when we're getting sponsorships, we're promoting a company, period. They're investing into us, and we're going to promote them. What's better than promoting to a large family to get a family interested into a sport of arm wrestling?
Right. Yeah. And you can, like, it just, as you're doing like you said, the whole sponsorship really not about you. It's putting the work out there for your sponsors,
yeah.
And they're not worried just about getting it to arm wrestlers. It's going to go beyond that. When you're wearing the shirt out after the event, stuff like that, other people are going to say, hey, I've heard of that place. Can you have any more information? You can always give them the phone number, or they're going to see the phone number on your shirt. I was going to call them people, but I couldn't find their number, couldn't find their website. And people not involved in arm wrestling are going to find stuff because the shirt you wore, or the banner you had hanging up, or something you just put out on social media. Because when, like, a video like this, if your friends share it, they have friends that necessarily aren't on your friends list, and they're going to see it, and that's how that whole social media works. It blows up, and that's like the biggest tool, I think, if you just use your social media properly, you will get sponsors and you will hold on to sponsors that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's important to cherish our sponsors, right? Because and treat them and treat other sponsors with respect as well, even if they're like, for instance, I'll give a perfect example of a great respectful interaction I just saw today. Fred Grokey, he represents ISO Hit, which is a spring thing, and he has been helping James Reed with finding a location for this East vs. West qualifier, and he wanted to highlight him. But he also is very good friends with Lucas Raymond, who has a very similar product. He's amicable between the two parties because they both have a benefit in the community. They both have a niche in the community, and we want to see them both succeed. They both have benefits on different regards and different lanes and different things. But there's room. The thing is, there's room for the both of them to grow and flourish, and that's the kicker. We don't knock down a sponsor because your competitor is coming after them or something like that, or something in that regard. Don't do that. That's underhanded. That doesn't help build the community. Cherish your sponsors. Treat other sponsors with respect because they may want to sponsor you one day. And if you don't respect,
they're
not going to sponsor you, but they're probably going to walk away from the sport from its entirety. And it sets a precedent where other future sponsors wouldn't want to invest. So we have to cherish the sponsors. We have to treat them with utmost respect and adoration because they are investing into us. Without them, it would be much more difficult and much longer for us to accomplish any of the goals we're trying to attain.
And it's not always worry about a big sponsor.
No.
Pay just as much attention to the little sponsors you get. You got to just treat them all on the same plane. Whether you have 3 different tiers and you have 3 different sponsors, you treat them all on the same plane. You give them what you promised them, but you still treat them the same way.
We actually got a good question here from Anthony Gravedigger. What kind of amount do you guys ask for individually, or what's a good starting point to make the conversation? So the starting point of the conversation to begin with is getting to know the person that represents the company. Whoever is, that's the very first, if you have something that you want to get sponsored and you have a target in sight, for instance, I'll give you the example of Cryogen, New York Cryogen. I've been a customer of New York Cryogen, who does high pressurized cryotherapy for me, for my pain relief in my elbows, my shoulders, and my wrist. Works wonders. I call him my pain extinguisher. So I've developed a relationship with him. I've been getting treatments with him for quite some time now. And I know what he has to offer to me and to the community. And so I learned more about him, and I let him learn more about me as an arm wrestler, about me as my family, what I do for a living, as a massage therapist. So he got to really get to know me as an individual, to, some grainy details as well. And we connected. And then when it came to me getting qualified, I got a treatment, told him that I was qualified, and he was eager to say, how can I help him? So when I showed him I created my sponsorship tiers at the levels of 50, 100, and 200. You don't have to replicate that. That was my starting point. Some people start at a much higher number. Some people start at a much lower number. You got to find what you're comfortable asking first and foremost. What you can sit there and be natural and not feel scripted and not feel like you're actually being a salesperson. Because that's the thing, is you're just selling yourself first. And then you're going to tell that you're asking for sponsorship.
Yeah, so like with him asking like what a good starting point is, it's kind of like before you go to ask somebody, kind of understand how much you think they may be interested in. Like you don't go to a company that's like a little family-owned company and ask them for $500. And with your tiers, like you said, 50, 100, and 200, you know, the having that set is a good starting point, because it's not so much the starting point of the money you're asking for, it's what you're going to give for that amount of money, you know. But the starting point money wise, it's a pretty kind of foggy thing. You know what I mean? It's so hard to say, okay, I'm going to start at $50, because in your region there may be people that are willing to sponsor you for 100, but
Sure.
but you don't know that, you know. So it's almost like it has to be in the conversation of, like, you asking, you know, how much are you willing to sponsor, and then when they give you a number, you know, just try to work around that number and stay close.
Stay close to it. But, you know, I can't stress it enough. The fact that if you know the person that you're asking, you kind of can gauge where they're going to lie, type of deal. Because I didn't go to people who I knew that couldn't, they weren't in a place financially, or, you know, in their lifetime, in their current life situation, they weren't in a place to offer a sponsorship. So I didn't bother asking them, because I knew that situation. That
Right.
doesn't mean down the road I won't ask them. So knowing they're also what kind of situation they're in, knowing what kind of person they are, and it will help you gauge that and create that, not have to pull it out of a rabbit hat and say, oh, this is a good number to work with, because you don't want to ask for too much or too little, because if you ask too much, you look greedy. You ask for too little, you sell yourself short, and people are going to be like, this guy doesn't believe himself. He's only asking for $10. Why am I going to invest in that? So, you know your value, know the person you're asking, know that connection, and, you know what that connection can, what they can offer as well, and what you can offer in return in the same regard.
Yeah, and you almost want to know, like, if it's somebody you know, like, personally, or it's a local business, you need to almost know if they're excited about arm wrestling.
Yeah.
If they're excited about arm wrestling, they're going to give you, they'll give you a sponsorship if you're offering the right thing. You know, like I said, just something simple, like, if for your $50, if you're offering the name on your shirt and some good Google reviews and mentioning their name on your YouTube channel on occasion, just stuff like that. If they're excited about it, they're going to give you a number. They're going to give you a number. You know.
Absolutely. I mean, I got to tell you, it just happened with me, actually. I secured my, I got my entire trip covered to go to Arnold's. My first line security, local security company that does nightclubs, bouncing, and other events as well, other venues. They're paying the entire way. And I literally, I asked him, he goes, how much is it going to cost to get you there, and what's the fees and everything? And I was like, I gave him a ballpark. He goes, consider it done.
Yeah.
Now, this is somebody who I actually work for, too.
Right.
So I've been for him for the last 6 months. I got introduced to him by Mike Aiello. He's a really cool dude. He happens to live right at the block from my house. He came to his very first arm wrestling practice last night, and strong dude. So I was trying to get him into support. He's very excited about it. So it's about the relationships. I know I sound like a broken record on that, but that is how I was able to get the sponsorships that I did in the period of time that I did. Because, yeah, it only took me about a month and a half to get funding to get to Olympia, but it took me about 2 years to build those relationships to get that funding.
Right.
So that's the missing piece that a lot of people don't realize. That's the footwork I put in. I built those relationships. I worked hard. I became friendly with these people and wasn't sure just because they were there in front of me. And that's the type of person I am. You know, Chuck knows that I am as friendly as anybody else can be, and I can make friends with a rock if I need to. But, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of rambling.
So,
Right.
yeah. So, like, I'm just hoping, like, maybe somebody got some good information from this, kind of got a little understanding. I'm sure if you message Dan, he'll explain more of how he worked through his sponsorships. But just get out and ask people how they did it. Take little different bits and pieces from people, and you'll figure it out. It's really not that hard. It's just, like you said, I think the hard part is getting up the nerve to go ask somebody for money.
I mean,
but you're really not asking them. You're really not asking them for money, because you are offering them something. But it's still it's not that easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy, and but nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? If you don't actually ask the question, you'll never ever find an answer that you're looking for.
Yep. I think just kind of like, for a final thought here is, you just got to get out there and pound the pavement, do the footwork, get yourself out there, get in front of the people. Don't expect anything for free. Make sure you just have something to offer. That's all. That's, to me, that's like the biggest thing.
And be creative with it. You don't have to be a cookie cutter, follow a specific pathway. Be your own self. Offer what you can. If you're I believe this, if you're a welder or a fabricator, build something for that sponsorship. If you're a cook something. Find some type of skill, trade. If you don't like marketing, social media, whatever it may be, there's other ways you can get sponsorships. So I'm happy to share any of my information or any of my knowledge on the topic. Feel free to message me. Chuck, thank you so much for thank you for joining me.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. And Anthony Gravedigger says, thanks, fellas. Hey, anytime, we may get together and do a couple more of these where we get this, or we get this YouTube live figured out. We'll do something there instead. But just hit the ground running, people. Just go out there and chase after it.
Get out there.
Yep.
Knock on doors.
Yep. That's all you can do.
All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good one.